Dear students, Plus 2 Computer Science Chapter 10, Server-Side Scripting using PHP Part 3. In the previous classes, we discussed about the fundamentals and basics of PHP. That means fundamentals means variables, operators, like that. And today we will discuss about control structures in PHP or control statements in PHP. Like C++ and JavaScript, PHP has some control statements, and they are control structures are used to alter the normal sequence of the program. That is, control structure controls the program flow of PHP. There are two types of statements: conditional statements such as if else, if, and switch, and they allow a program to execute different pieces of code or none at all depending upon some condition. And next one is first one is conditional statements, and second one is loop statements such as while, do while, and for. These are the three iteration statements or looping statements, and these support the repeated execution of a particular code. That is, in iteration statements, it support the repeated execution of the particular code, and in the conditional statements, it allow a program to execute different piece of code or none at all depending upon some condition. That is, control structures in PHP are classified into two types: conditional statements and looping statements. And first one, conditional statements. We are all learn about or familiar with the conditional statements in C++. The same conditional statements or selection statements are used in PHP. That is, conditional statements are based on a condition, and the conditional statements are simple if, else, if, and switch statements. The first one is if statement. If statement checks the truthfulness of an expression, and that is, it check the condition is true. The if statement checks the truthness of the expression. Simple if statement check the condition of condition is true, and the syntax is if condition or expression curly brace open the statements or the code to be executed if the expression evaluates to true. And the example is angle bracket open PHP $a. That is, the variable a stored the value 10, and the value 5 is stored in the b. Then a condition: if a greater than b, here the value is greater than b, that statement is true. So output will be a message that is print a is bigger than b, and the output is a is bigger than b. It is the conditional statement. First conditional statement, simple if statement. And the second one is else statement, that is if else statement. This statement defines an alternative block of code that should be executed if the expression we are testing evaluates to false. That is, it produces the output for both true as well as false. That is, the syntax is if condition statement, statements for true case, and else the false case statements are written. And an example: angle bracket open PHP $a equal to 10, $b equal to 65. If $a greater than $b, echo a is bigger than b. Else case, echo b is bigger than a. Here echo is used to print this statement. Here the value of a equal to 10, b equal to 65. So the condition is false. So the output will be b is bigger than a. And the next statement is else if statement, that is if else if ladder. That is, for the more cases we occur, then the output is then the statement uses if else if statements, and the syntax is if expression curly brace open statements, then else if expression then last statement use the else case only, else code to be executed in all other cases. First case the true expression, else case the condition, first condition checked in here, and the output statements for that else if another condition, then the statement for that. At last the else statement occur and the statement code to be executed in all other cases. Consider an example. Angle bracket open PHP and $A equal to 55, B equal to 51. Check the condition. If A greater than B, echo A is bigger than B. Here the statement is false. Then go to the next statement, else if B greater than A, here it is also false. So go to the next statement, echo else case, echo A and B are equal. Here there are three conditions. First condition, greater than A greater than B. Then the second condition, B greater than A. Else case, another case, that is the we use here we use the else if statement, and the last statement is echo A and B are equal. So here the output will be A and B are equal. So next statement, switch statement. Switch statement is similar to a series of if statements on the same expression, and it is the multiple selection branch statement. First we discuss if, else and else if. These are conditional statements, and the switch statement is multiple selection branch statement. That is, the switch statement is a multi-branch statement, and the syntax is same as C++. Switch, expression, curly brace open, case, space, label, colon, statements, then break, case label, next case label, statements, break, etc. up to n cases. And the last one is default statement. By default statement, execute, this is the result of the expression, does not match any cases result. Cases result labels results, if not matched, then we use the default statement. And an example, angle bracket open PHP $n equal to 3. So the value of n is 3. Switch off n, case 1 echo 1 break, case 2 echo 2 break, case 3 echo 3 break, default echo, enter correct number. So here the value of n is 3. So the output will be 3. So next statement is loop statements. Loop statements used to repeated statements. That means a loop is a grouping of statements executed repeatedly. And the first looping statement is while loop. A while control structure executed a nested statements repeatedly until the expression returns a false value. That is, if the expression is false, then we exit from the loop. And the syntax is while expression curly brace open statements curly brace closed. And the example is angle bracket open PHP $I equal to 1 y I less than or equal to 5 echo I. That is, the value of I will be display, and next $I plus plus increased the value of I by 1. So the output will be, first we check I less than or equal to 5. Is it true? 1 less than or equal to 5. Is it? Yes, it is true. So echo I, then print 1. Then I plus plus, increase the value of I by 1. Then the value of I will be 2. Then check 2 less than or equal to 5. Yes, it is true. Then print the 2. First we print 1, then 2, then again repeated the value by 1. The value of I will be 3. Then go to the while step, then 3 less than or equal to 5 up to 5 less than or equal to 5. Print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then increase the value of I by 1, then I equal to 6. Then check whether the condition 6 less than or equal to 5, is it true? No, it is not true. So exit from the while loop. So the output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the next statement is do while loop. Do while loop statements will execute a block of code at least one, because the condition is checked at last, like C++, and it then will be repeated the loop as long as the condition is true. and that do while statement will execute a code at least one, and it will then repeat the loop as long as the condition is true, and the syntax is do statements while expression, and the statements within curly braces. After that, after the while expression, we need a semicolon, and the example is angle bracket open PHP $i equal to 1 do echo I, then I plus plus while I less than or equal to 5 PHP close it, and this here the syntax is same as while loop, but the condition is checked at the end of the loop. That is, do while loop is an exit controlled loop and while loop is an entry controlled loop, because in while loop the expression or the condition is evaluated before entering into the loop, and in the do while loop it is an exit controlled loop, because the condition is checked at the at last of the loop, and the loop will be executed at least once, and here the output will be 1 2 3 4 5, and the next loop is for loop. For loop is used when we know how many times we want to execute the statement or a block of statement. That is, we will check the condition, and if the syntax for loop is for initialization expression semicolon, test expression or condition semicolon, and the next is update expression or increment. Then curly brace open, the block of statements or the body of the loop of statements will be executed. And an example, PHP for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 5, I plus plus echo I. Here first the initial value of I will be 1, then check I less than or equal to 5. If it is true, go to the body of the loop, that is echo I. The value of I will be printed, that the value of I is 1, so 1 will be printed. Then go to the increment expression, that is I plus plus, the value of I will be incremented by 1 and the value of I will be 2. Then check the condition 2 less than or equal to 5. If the condition is true, go to the next printing section or the body of the loop. Then the output will be 1 2 3 4 5. These three are the looping statements: while, do while, and for loop. And also some jump statements in C++. We are familiar with some jump statements: break, continue. Like these statements are used within the looping structure to skip the rest of the current loop iteration and continue execution at the condition evaluation, and then begin the next iteration. And the statements are continue and break. The continue keyword forces to skip the rest of the statements and continue to the next iteration. Or and the break keyword used to terminate a loop. Loop means for, do while, etc. So today we are discussing about the control structures or control statements in PHP. There are two types of control statements: conditional statements and looping statements. Conditional statements are if statement, else, else if, and switch. And iteration statements or looping statements are while, do while, and for loop. And continue and break break statements are used within the loop structures or loop iteration statements in PHP. Hope all these topics are clear to you. Thank you, students.